Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Intelligent Moron with Alex Silva. Kind of a hot day today. It's going to get pretty hot for these next 3 days and then dip back down to normaler temperatures. Going to get to like the 90s, I think, this weekend, which is probably the worst time for it to get hot, and I'll be honest. You know, you want to go outside, go to the park, go to the beach, go anywhere, and it be 90 degrees? I don't think so. Embarrassing. I can't believe that. I know you can't control the weather, but just give me a little break, you know? I don't want it to be that hot on the weekend. Make it hot during the week. Make it cool during the weekend. You know, that's when people want to go out and stuff. And it's not because I want to, you know, go out and do stuff on the weekend, but people on the weekend are trying to relax. And if it's hot, and you go someplace, do some things, you're going to get some pissed off people complaining that it's hot, that they're uncomfortable, and they get irritated faster, and you don't want that. Nobody wants that. Nobody ever wants to be around those people. People are already pissed off as it is. Adding heat to it is not going to make anything better. I mean, it's still April. We don't need this hot weather. God, or whoever's doing this, just leave us alone. And I again, like I said, I love how it's just for the weekend. The most important days of the week, and it's going to be hot, like far above average. No, thank you. I'm going to stay inside. Last weekend, though, wasn't too bad. It wasn't that hot. You know, I went out on Sunday, had a little get-together with some friends. We went to go eat some teppanyaki, and my buddy, you know, he brought his kid, who's like about 5 months old, him and his girlfriend, and along with the other guys too, and my friends, by the way. It was like a party of like 6 plus a baby, and we decided not to eat at the teppanyaki like cook in front of you show, you know, like the show that you get with the onion volcano and the guy with the knife skills and cutting the food in front of you. We decided to get a booth, you know, for obvious reasons. The kid probably would have gotten scared by the fire. It's kind of cramped, you know. As much as I love teppanyaki and I love that type of food, it sometimes that seating arrangement can be a little cramped, especially if you're a bigger guy like myself. So we decided to do a booth and still order off the teppanyaki menu, but just do a booth. And I've never done that before. I always thought you had to eat teppanyaki food at the teppanyaki seating arrangement. I was like, okay, let's try this. So we get there. They have the menu, you know, no restrictions. You can get dinner if you want. It's like, let's go. This is for the win right here. I'm happy to be here. And I order steak and salmon. I usually order steak and shrimp because it's cheaper. But I decided, you know what? I'm gonna ball out today. I'm gonna get a steak and salmon. Now, I love salmon. It's one of my favorite fishes to eat on this entire planet. The taste, it's a lot thicker than most fish. It's pretty simple. You don't really gotta do too much to it to make it taste good. And it's just one of my favorite fishes to eat. More so than like cod or even halibut. It's a bit meatier fish. It just tastes so good too. And I got that. And the food was good. But it isn't as fresh. It isn't as good because it is not as fresh as when the guy cooking in front of you puts it on your plate after he finishes cooking it, and then you chow down. That's to be expected, but I feel like this time I had it, you can kind of tell that the food was kind of sitting there for a little bit longer than it should. Kind of settled down a little bit. It wasn't like, I don't need it to be searing hot, but I need to at least be able to tell that it was like recently cooked. That I can visually see this thing is still, still searing, at least a little bit, still got some heat to it. It wasn't cold either. It's just, it looked like it had been sitting like under like a heat lamp or something for like a little bit. Not too bad, but I would have preferred it to be cooked in front of me. But, the circumstances, I was like, we'll just, this is fine. As long as I'm here with y'all, chilling, having a good time, celebrating my boy's birthday, we'll be cool. The guy turned 27. That's kind of crazy to me. Because I'm 29, he's 27. He's like, oh, I'm not as old as you. I'm like, motherfucker. Like, you're only 2 years away from me, bro. Like, it's gonna happen. And at that point, I'll be like 31. You'll be 29. You'll be like, I'm about to be 30. It's like, yeah, bitch, I see. You're old too, Being the oldest in like a friend group too is like kind of weird. Because they think that you are, ancient. Yet I still think that they're young, but they're not. They're only like 2 years younger, 1 year younger. It's weird. But, I guess I've been called like the dad of the bunch because I'm the oldest. Even though I don't have any children, I still get called that. I don't know why. I guess probably just because I'm the oldest, But we decided to surprise him for his birthday. The whole thing was a surprise, and he's been very busy since he had his child, and he hasn't been able to like hang out with the boys, game with the boys, and his girlfriend hit up one of our friends, or she hit up him, and like they're like trying to plan a surprise, and they did, and it actually was pretty successful, because once he turned the corner and saw us there, he was lighting up with smiles. He couldn't believe it. I was like, dang, this is it. We fucking actually succeeded. This surprise, it didn't leak, and I was just like, yeah, happy birthday, bitch. And the rest was history. It was quite the fun day. We had a nice lunch. It was fantastic. And I know I said that the food could have been better. Of course it could have been. But what's better than that is just like being around your friends and people that you enjoy spending time with. That's always the best. You talk about shit. You kind of catch up a little bit on each other's lives. It's one thing where like I like to game and play Xbox and stuff. Not just by myself, but with my friends. And we catch up like pretty much like a couple times a week, right? Sometimes more than a couple, maybe 3 or 4. Hop online, get on the mic, and just kind of chat and shoot the shit. And talk about the day and shit. But there's something about like asking about how you've been or how was your day in person, in a place of socializing and having fun and like just eating. It's just, it's what we were meant to do as a species and as a society, to just kind of, push away all the bullshit and just kind of connect with people that are your friends and spend some time with one another, and let your responsibilities, whether it be your job, your family, whatever, just kind of go by the wayside and have fun. It doesn't gotta be like you go out to like a big grand thing, like a big fancy dinner. It's just gotta be something that's you can all connect with, and you can all just kind of have fun. Even though you're not playing like a game or anything like that. Like, you don't gotta go mini golfing, you don't gotta go go-kart racing. Just kind of sit down. I understand why people like to go out and eat now. I mean, I've always noticed that. I've always liked it, but when you get older, it kind of makes you kind of want to do it more. You want to do it more, and you want to chase those feelings of being around your friends and the camaraderie and the friendship, not to get sappy or emotional, but, it's the little things like that that's like kind of makes you think like, I need to do that more. I need to see my friends more because that's what's important in life. And that's what it matters the most. And that's what makes me happy. Something that occurred to me a couple of days ago did not make me that happy. It actually kind of made me very, very, very disappointed. And I might be over-exaggerating a bit, but hear me out. I promise you it probably isn't as overly exaggerated as you might think it is. So I'm a big fan of fruit. Big, big fan. Grapes, oranges, peaches, strawberries, apples, nectarines, pineapples, kiwis, cherries, raspberries, blueberries. I love them all. The only fruit I really dislike is grapefruit. Not a big fan of grapefruit. I don't think a lot of people are. I think once you kind of see a grapefruit, you're going to be like, that looks delicious, savory, and sweet, and something that I would want to indulge. But once people try a grapefruit, their dreams are crushed. And it's crushed in like this bitter juice of a fruit. Or that's called a fruit. And you're like, how could anybody eat this? How could a fruit look so delectable and so sweet and refreshing and it tastes like this? I don't know. The Lord works in mysterious ways where I cannot understand half the things that he does or he talks about. And I guess one of these things, it was that I'm going to make this fruit look so good that when you bite into it, you will question my own existence. And you will say to yourself, is God real? And that is probably why there is a widespread diminishing percentages of people believing in a faith. Is because a grapefruit should not be as disgusting as it is, but it is. And it's just a smack in the face. It's like, you thought this was going to be good, didn't you? Wrong. You are dead wrong. Well, back to what I was saying before this rant on grapefruits. I had a bag of apples in the refrigerator. Sharp-looking apples. They looked delicious. They looked amazing. They looked big and ripe, and it was just like, oh man, I could use an apple right now. So I get the apple, I peel off the sticker, and I twist off the little stem, throw that bitch in the garbage, and then I wash the apple. I wash it thoroughly, get off all that wax and pesticides and shit. It looks pretty damn good, right? Dry it off with a paper towel. And I'm ready, man. I'm ready to bite into this apple like there's no tomorrow. I'm a little hungry. I could use some fluid as well, some sugar. I'm a little depleted. And I'm like, this is going to be the best apple in the world. It looks amazing. I take a bite into this piece of shit apple. It's the mushiest goddamn thing in the world. Absolutely no sweetness, no flavor, just bland. I spit that shit out of my mouth like it was disrespecting me, and I threw it into the garbage. Threw it in the garbage because the way that apple looked, the way that it was presented to me, it had such a fresh presentation and such a delicious presence that I could not believe that this thing would betray me and taste as bad as it did. I mean, I wanted that thing out of my mouth, out of my hand, within seconds after I took that bite. Here's how much I hated that. I took the bite, chewed it like one time, spit that shit out, and threw away the apple. And I didn't just toss it. I threw it into the garbage. I made it hit the bottom, and it was a full can. I'm like, no. Get the fuck out of my sight. I'm going to bury you in this fucking stupid-ass, silly-ass trash can. I never want to see the lights of you again. No one should have to bear witness to your lies and your deceptions and how good you look and how disgusting you tasted. And that really ticked me off for the rest of the day. Couldn't believe it. I told my family, like, you know what? Don't eat the apples. They're bad. Don't you dare touch them. And then my mother's like, hey, they're actually not bad. They're pretty good. I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, they're actually really good. So I go back, I go into the bag, I bring out an apple. And I feel it this time. I'm feeling it. I'm like, last time I didn't really feel it. I just kind of looked at it and I just was like, oh, you are beautiful. No, this time I was paying more attention. I was examining the apple. All right, I was kind of squeezing it. I never really squeeze my fruit like that because I enjoy my fruit firm. I don't like to soften it up. I'm not a bitch. Apples, pears, all that bullshit. I like it firm. Mangoes. I can't even really deal with like soft bananas. I need them to be a little bit firmer than like a squishy one. I know the squishy ones or the softer ones, people are like, they taste sweeter. I don't give a shit. I can't eat the fucking brown ass banana like some people do. They say it's sweeter. I don't give a shit. All right, it's a texture thing with me. But anyways, I was feeling for, any imperfections and making sure that I was not going to get duped once again. I was not in the mood to be in another bad mood that day. The next day. The day before that. Completely ruined. This day, I was like, you know what? Could use an apple, right? Keeps the doctor away. But will it keep me away again? We'll try it out. So I squeezed it a little bit. After I washed it, took off the little stem and the sticker in the garbage. And here it comes. I'm about to take a bite. And I know if I don't feel a little resistance, once I put my chompers on the apple, I probably at that point would not even bite down. I would throw it away again. I would throw it away. I'd be like, no, not again. I'm not going through that type of pain again. But that wasn't the case. That was not the case. I bit into the apple, and I felt immediate resistance. And then I smiled with glee, bit down, and it was delicious. A delicious apple, and I was like, I could not believe it. It was so good, so juicy, so sweet, so wonderful. God, and I was smiling as I was chewing it, and I finished that thing to the core, went to the garbage, and tossed it. With glee, I skipped back to as I finished it, I skipped all the way back to my chair, and I sat back down like, that was a good apple. Day made. My day was made. That's the power of like food and shit. It can make your day. But if you get a squishy apple, if you get a piece of shit apple, an apple that looks good, and you're like, you didn't examine it well enough, and you're like, when was this bought? Or this looks a little fishy. Because you can tell when an apple isn't going to be that good. This one I could not tell. The skin on that apple looked perfect, looked bright, it looked fruitful, flavorful, full of life. As I bit into it, nothing. Just absolute shit. But this time around, didn't have that problem, and it just made my day. That's how simple my life is, though. It's kind of sad, but it's also kind of, why would you have it any other way? Why would you have it another way where it's more difficult? If I could have a good day based on the food that I eat, I would just surround myself with good food. And hopefully that there's no bad apples within that day, or that, that apple bag. Keep the apples good. We don't want no bad apples in this shit. the world today has been very, very focused on artificial intelligence, AI, if you'd rather. I don't really come across AI a whole lot in my life. I hear about it on the news. I hear about it in podcasts. I hear about it on YouTube and TV and stuff like that. But I've never really had it never had it be bestowed upon me in my day-to-day life. I have nothing that I would think would be using AI to, be a part of my life. I guess like an algorithm in like a social media could be some type of AI. But besides that, I don't really think that I have any real experience or any real exposure to some type of AI. I mean, I guess Siri is an AI. Siri, see, she just responded to me right now. That's an AI. But that's not like a super smart AI. That's like ChatGPT or some shit like that, right? Or anything that's like being developed now. Siri's like an old product that came out in like, man, I would say like maybe 2010 when Siri came out, 2011, when that kind of became a thing. I think the first phone that had Siri was the iPhone 4. And that was all pretty cool. Everyone liked Siri. Everyone wanted to say, "Hey Siri, how you doing? Hey Siri, tell me a joke. Hey Siri, what's this? Hey Siri, what's that?" And all that stuff was kind of just happening. But I gotta put her away. And it was never really something that I would want to actually happen, was us being surrounded by artificial intelligence like that. Seeing movies, right, and TV, even though it's fiction, sometimes stuff like that kind of ends up being a fact. It ends up being real. It ends up being true. Stuff like that. So when Snapchat alerted me that there's like an AI feature or an AI bot or something like that on Snapchat, I was very concerned. I did not know what that was. And I remember the day that it happened. It was last Thursday. I got a notification from Snapchat about my AI. And it is, I got this notification. I took a screenshot of what it said. It said, "Say hi to my AI. My AI is an experimental chatbot. Unlike other chats with friends, all content with my AI will be retained unless you delete it." Yeah, I can ask it anything, ask it to help. It's always there. It's like, yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, I'm not ready for that. And I don't want that to be like something that's in my pocket, Maybe I should actually kind of experiment with it. See what it's all about. See if it's like, if it's fair. Or if it'll give me any answer I want. How is it programmed? Does it have restrictions? It has to, right? Like, there's no way. Like, you can't be like, "Hey, chat," or "Hey, AI, how do I build a bomb?" Or how do I build like some kind of like booby trap, or some kind of something that could potentially bring danger to other people. I'd feel like at that point, that is where AI and all that would have to be like, "Nope, can't help you there, bud. Sorry. Yeah, it's can't be done." Right? It would have to, right? I mean, unless like there's like, what if somebody makes a AI, a different chatbot that has no restrictions, right, and gives you anything that you want? See, that's where it gets dicey, people, because then once you get an AI that does all that shit, who's to say it's going to start to run the world? What if one period in our time, what if at one point in time is like the president of the United States is no longer a person, it is a chatbot. Chatbot president. That could be something that is not too far off from us. If you think about it, it's not something that I want to live with, because the people who make these chat boxes, these chatbots that create them, why would they create them? Why? To help people? I don't know. To be a friend to the person that created it? Possibly. You ever see those plots in movies where the nerd has no friends or doesn't even try to make friends and makes some kind of like robot, and it starts off as being helpful, but then it fucking turns bad and it destroys everything? Maybe it's some fucking nerd out there that wants someone to talk to, and all he can think of is making a robot. And then that robot becomes Skynet, which breeds Terminators, which means death to us all. It's like, holy shit. That's why I think that's exactly what I think is happening. When it comes to this type of stuff and who's in control, it's going to be the nerds. 110%. All those days of the jocks bullying the nerds has come down to this final moment of what is going to destroy everything. Nerds couldn't get girlfriends making AI bots in Revenge of the Nerds. This is it. Revenge of the Nerds has happened. And it's only a matter of time before it dooms us all. I mean, just think about it, right? What if we turned these chats and this technology into a functioning robot that could walk and talk and do stuff, and we program this AI into it? I know we're not there yet in terms of science fiction AI, but this is the first step. And I feel like the AI that's coming out now is advancing pretty quickly. There's always new things that you see every day about AI generated photos, AI made videos, AI made audio. It's not something that I think that we need to be taking lightly. It is something that requires DEFCON 1 type of attention. DEFCON 1 attention needs to be on this AI chatbot. It must be destroyed. And I know I said no, I don't want it on my Snapchat, and I did. But that doesn't mean everyone is like me. Not everybody is as skeptical about these things as I am. Most people, not most, but there's a lot of people out there that are willing to do are willing to do whatever the new technology offers. Remember when the apps on the Apple Store were saying do you want us to track you? And you can put either allow tracking or no tracking. I always put fucking no tracking. I don't want to be tracked. I mean, I'm already being tracked, but I don't want to be tracked even more, I'm going to give myself at least a little shield, right? To not be tracked on things. I think that that's a normal thing to do. I mean, privacy is still a thing, people. You should have that. You should not be. Do you want to be known by people where you are at all times of the day? Do you want that? Some people are pretty insane out there. Some people have that bullshit share your location on iPhone all the time. Do you have trust issues? What's going on here? Why do you have that? I get it if you're significant others, right? You're in a relationship, but why have it all the time? Why? Isn't that just seems a little weird to me. You really need that person to know where you're at every waking moment of the day? I don't know. It all kind of it all spawned by, people will have you on location at all times of the day, but they'll keep their text message recipients mute, which means it'll never say read at this point or, hasn't been read, People are weird like that. People want to pick and choose their privacy, which is 100% allowed. But at the same time, it's like one thing is cool for you, the other is absolutely not okay. I guess, that's fair. That's a fair point. That's a fair argument. Like and you are entitled to think that way. But, how much is too much, right? How much are you giving to the people that is your information? You could be giving a little too much out there. A little too much that'll make your skin crawl. You'll be like, oh, no, I've shared way too much out there. I don't need to share this much. What is wrong with me? It's just something to think about, though. I'm not trying to make it seem like the world is ending right now. It's not. But I think that if people, want to keep your privacy and at the same time want their privacy, I think you got to pick and choose your like what you want to be private and what you don't want to be private. Like for me, I got my read receipts on. I got my social medias not blocked. I got this. I got that. I got it all open pretty much. I mean, I don't have anything restricted. It's like wide open, nothing like that. But I definitely don't see that anyone needs to see my exact location at every second of the day. I think that's a little odd. I think that's a little weird. I don't know. Maybe that's just because you know where I personally am at all times of the day. I think that's a little bit stranger. That's like more real life stuff. This social media, read receipts, that's all nonsense. That's not real. This is real. The location, that shit's fucking real. Can't really fake that unless you leave your phone somewhere and run away, I don't know. It just all seems kind of silly to me. Silly stuff. By the way, I got some topics I wanted to talk about on this show. A lot of stuff has been coming out about some movies. There's just been this thing called CinemaCon at, I believe, in Las Vegas this past week. A lot of different studios been sending a lot of stuff and been showing quite a bit of stuff, right? A lot of stuff has been getting shown to people of the press, whether it be like clips, announcements, even full-on movies. We'll talk about that later. But one thing that kind of caught my eye that I thought was a little interesting, and I hope it's good, but begs the question of how good could it be, And apparently in the new Indiana Jones film, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, Harrison Ford, of course, is returning back to play the legendary role that he plays as Indiana Jones in the films. Since 1985, I think the first one came out. But he's returning, and if you've seen any of the trailers, you see Harrison Ford play Indiana Jones as his actual age. I can't remember what period of time these films are being taken place in. I believe it is the 60s or the 70s. That's a big, broad jump in time, but I believe it. I think it could be the 60s is when these films are taking place. This film is taking place. And apparently, news at a CinemaCon is that Harrison Ford is going to be de-aged in the film. And you've seen this in the trailers. If you've seen it, you see a couple of scenes or frames of Indiana Jones looking younger. Clearly that they de-aged him. And if you don't know what de-aging is, it's where they take an actor in modern day, current period, and let's say they want to tell a story where it has a flashback or it even just takes place in a younger, in a time before, that makes sense for the character to grow up into what they kind of look like in real life today. And what they do is they get the face and they get all these cameras and they get CGI and they make you look younger. Whether it's deep fake technology or some other shit that they have out there. They make the character look younger, but still look like themselves, using probably footage or stuff like that, splicing film from previous films, right? They've done this with films like The Irishman. They did that with Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci, and Al Pacino quite a bit. They've done it with they've done it in the Marvel movies. I think in like Avengers, either Infinity War or Endgame. I can't remember which one. Or I think it was Civil War actually. They de-aged Robert Downey Jr.'s Tony Stark to look like I think like an 18-year-old kid, and it looks kind of odd at first, but like once you kind of see his the scene play out, and they know where to shoot angles and to make it not look so obvious that they're using CGI, they can kind of get away with it, right? And so for the most part, it looks kind of silly. It looks kind of stupid. I've always been the fan of getting a younger actor who kind of looks like the star of the film and just do that. I feel like it looks better, and it's like it just kind of feels it's real. It feels real, and the CGI stuff, sometimes if you don't do it the right way, it could look pretty bad. But they're going to do that with Indiana Jones 5, and the report that was coming out is like there's going to be at least 25 minutes of him being de-aged back to the time, I believe it's of Raiders of the Lost Ark, which was the first film. And I think at the time when he filmed that, he was like maybe like in his late 30s, early 40s, I think. And I remember saying to myself when I heard that news, like, 25 minutes of de-aged Harrison Ford? Like, what is he gonna do? Like, first of all, immediately what went into my head was, okay, how are they gonna film this? First of all, how's it gonna look for 25 full minutes de-aged? Is he gonna be moving? Is he gonna be doing action? Is it gonna be his face on him, or is it gonna be his de-aged face on a younger actor? Kind of like Luke Skywalker in Mandalorian Season 2. Like, what's going to happen, right? That's what I thought. Because the last thing you want to see is a scenario where you get Robert De Niro playing a younger version of himself and not casting a younger actor, right? Putting de-aged on his face, and him in his old age try to move around quickly and fight people, and it looks so bad. If you know the scene I'm talking about the scene where he is going to the grocery store, and some guy kind of disrespects his daughter, and he takes his daughter with him to go confront the clerk, I think, at the store who disrespected her, and he throws him through the window of the store, and he starts to curb stomp him on the floor and like step on his hand. And the whole time it's happening, it's De Niro's de-aged face, but on De Niro's old ass body, and it looks horrible. He can't do the motions of stepping on somebody at a fast pace like someone would be beating up somebody on the street. He's doing it all slow. It's shot at a wide angle. It looks kind of weird. It's clunky. It at first when I saw it, I was like, that's pretty lame. That's pretty stupid. I recently saw it on YouTube, just the clip of it. It looked even worse. I could not believe it. And I was like, this is a Martin Scorsese picture. Why are you being lazy and not casting a younger person as Robert De Niro's character? That's just my opinion. And that was back in like 2019 when The Irishman came out. And it was probably a shot like a year before that. And just as I was, I was like going about that, I'm like, if they like try to do like some cool ass stunts with younger Indy, and they're using Harrison Ford's body, but de-aging his face, that's probably not going to work. I'll be honest, like that might not work. What I'm hoping they might do is, I hope that they just put a younger dude and put de-aged Indy's face on him. That way he can kind of move around and do stuff, and you have, the face of, Indiana Jones. Now, of course, that goes a lot to doing that to make scenes, right? That CGI alone is going to cost millions of dollars to complete, to make you even look good, because, people do it all the time in other things, and it looks not very good. But this is a feature film. This is a motion picture. You expect it to be pretty damn good, right? I mean, come on. It's 2023. Let's get it together. But, hearing that news, I was just like kind of floored, because I was like, 25 minutes is quite a bit of time. That's quite a bit of time of seeing younger Indiana Jones. It's probably like a good, close to a quarter of the movie's length of him being de-aged. Now, I'm not saying that's going to be, shitty, but it's just I've seen how they've done it in the past. It either works or it doesn't, they did the same thing. If you watch Rogue One, and you see, they have a character, Grand Moff Tarkin, in the film. Now, the actor who played Grand Moff Tarkin in the original Star Wars that came out in 1977, he died years ago. Years ago, he died, God rest his soul. They resurrect him in this film. They get an actor who kind of looks like him in resemblance to the face, but they put Tarkin's face on him. Now, that could be done, but that was in 2016. It still looked kind of funky back then. 7 years later, maybe it's there, maybe it's not. I guess we'll just have to see. But if I'm going to be on the more positive side, seeing how it has progressed in Book of Boba Fett, Luke Skywalker, though that episode was pretty damn good, it looked a lot better than in season 2 finale of Mandalorian. That could be something that's actually pretty good. It could be good. And that was a TV show, by the way. This ain't no feature film. I'm not saying that TV is not going to get as big of a budget as feature film, but I'm just saying that, if Disney's going to be like, we got to make this look good, and the only way we can do is we just haul money at these fucking, CGI people, get them to make it look good and real. I'm like, okay, let's get it. And to be fair, the clips and the scenes that you see in the trailer of De-Aged Indy are all kind of dark. It's not a well-lit shot, and you see, you're like, oh yeah, that looks just like Indy from Raiders of the Lost Ark. It could be done, but if it's going to be all dark and shit, I don't know. That might be the only way to do it, is to kind of obscure it. It's kind of like when they shoot big action sequences, or a big monster, or anything remotely big with CGI, they'll do it at night, so that they don't have to put as much detail on the thing that they're trying to animate. When you see a Godzilla film, when Godzilla's at night, they don't got to animate all the scales because you can't see them all because it's nighttime. They don't got to animate all his little details because it's night and you don't see them all. Why do you think that they had the fucking the first scene with the T-Rex at night? Because it was at night. You couldn't see that fucker's ass. And after that, once it's daytime, you barely see the motherfucker. You barely see the T-Rex when it's when it's daytime. You see him twice, and that's it. Every other time it's at night. You ever notice that? T-Rex in Jurassic Park is mainly seen at night. A couple times during the day, but that's about it. It's just kind of something that you think about. And it's not just back then, a practice back then and back in the day filmmaking. It still happens now, Still happens now. Unless you got a budget, though. James Cameron's fuck that. My whole shit's going to be fucking CGI. I'm going to show it during the day. In bright daylight. In water. Now, that guy had balls. That guy had, crazy-ass technology that he was I ain't afraid to show this shit because fuck it. I spent all my money doing this, and this is my life's work. I'm going to show it off. By the way, speaking of CinemaCon, we got some more news from there. Some more news. According to the Warner Brothers Discovery boss, the president of Warner Brothers Discovery, kind of weird now how that's their title, because since Discovery bought Warner Brothers, They're kind of a one big thing now. But according to Warner Brothers and Discovery president David Zaslav, he says that the Flash film is the best superhero film that he has ever seen. And that was an actual headline in a major publication that the CEO or the president of, Warner Brothers Discovery thinks that his superhero film that he has to promote and he has to say is good, thinks that it's the best superhero film he's ever seen. That ain't news. I'm sorry, but to whatever publication I saw this from, and I saw it from a lot, that ain't news. That's expected. That is something that you are going to expect him to say. None of that's news. That was not deservedly news. You kind of, I saw that, I'm like, really? He's the president of the damn company, or the president of the division of that company. What are we talking about here? Of course he's going to say that. Why would he say like this movie's going to be shit? It's his fucking movie. He needs to promote the living shit out of this shit. Now, I reference to people have already seen movies from CinemaCon. This is actually one of them. People have actually seen the entire The Flash film. Can't believe it either, but people have seen it. Now, this movie has had trailers and TV spots been coming out fast and loud. They just had a new trailer come out a couple days ago. They had TV spots during the basketball games. They've had, stuff coming out, They've had 2 trailers and a lot of TV spots coming out. And I'm definitely excited to see this film. I'm pretty sure I'm going to see this film. I said that about Shazam and I didn't end up seeing that film. And I want to see The Flash because, I guess, of the repercussions of the entire DC universe rests on that film's hands and rests on how this film performs, I guess. So I guess, I am extremely excited to see it, but at the same time, people have seen it and people have said that's actually pretty damn good. Not just the executives that you expect that, and that is not news, that people are actually coming out of this theater from seeing this film more than a month before it actually comes out and are able to say that it's actually good. Well, that's actually very pleasing news because that's what you want, right? You want to hear about a movie that is, that could be skeptical, that could be a little... you're not sure what to expect. Hearing that it's actually pretty good. That has major repercussions to the existing universe of this franchise. You want it to be good. You absolutely want it to be at least okay. But me hearing that it's actually pretty good from a lot of people, and these people are on Twitter. You see tweets about this have been coming out from people who have seen this, and they say it's pretty good. That actually makes me very happy because there's a lot of things in this that could go wrong in this entire thing. You gotta remember that this film, this Flash movie, has been so in limbo for so many years. From them not knowing what to do with the story of the Flash to now they have to kind of usher in a new type of universe because James Gunn took over DC, and now apparently this film has the cross to bear to reshape it and to reset everything. That's a lot to ask from a film, I'll be honest. In no way have I ever seen a movie come out to, with its purpose to reshape a universe in my entire life. No Way Home kind of did it, but it was through a fun, loving way, and just a really fun Spider-Man adventure that was just happened to be one of the best Marvel movies ever made. maybe the best. That really, that set a course for the future of Marvel and for certain characters, but nothing like this where it's like, like the old DC universe with Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill is pretty much toast, right? It's dead. And this new one's coming in, but this guy, the Flash, Barry Allen, played by Ezra Miller, was the Flash in that other universe, and his sole purpose in this film is, I mean, it's pretty much a gimmick, right? It's known he's going to restart everything. He's going to, I guess, I guess he ends up failing because he restarts everything and nothing's the same after that because we get a new DC universe. But I've never in my entire life have seen one movie designed to retcon everything else. Isn't that crazy? What a world to be alive in, where we can just make multi-million-dollar movies to retcon shit that happened in the past that also cost millions of dollars to make. The Flash is just a big retcon of everything that's already happened in the past, because there's no way they don't know, like they also need people to see this film because to know what the universe is going to look like in the future. It's like a big gamble. This whole thing is just crazy. How a movie was literally designed to retcon everything. I mean, I think that it's going to be cool. I mean, they have Ezra Miller, Ben Affleck, fucking Michael Keaton coming back as Batman? Huh? Who would have thought that was going to happen ever again? That was always rumored. That maybe, he's in that same universe, but I don't know if that's the case anymore, or that they have to team up or some shit like that. I mean, like, it was like, that was always a rumor, but seeing how it was all true and it's actually happening, it's like, this is, I'm like lost for words knowing that this purpose of this film is to retcon an entire universe of films that have been made in the past. Isn't that crazy? I don't know. I just feel like that's just something that's so never been done before. Like, this movie's going to reset everything. Like, wow, okay. That's ballsy. That's definitely something that's never been done before. The question is, can they land it? With how much of a responsibility that this movie has for James Gunn and the future of his universe and the future of his career. Like he said, that this DCU, this first like slate of films is gonna like take place within like 10 years of his life. 10 years of like movies and content is like a 10-year span. I don't it almost seems like this is a little bit too good to be true, that that this is actually lining up for him perfectly. If he can actually land this film is going to be bigger than it should be, but does that mean that it could still be a good movie and be entertaining and have emotional beats and be like a good movie for you to to watch and have a good time, and maybe tell your friends or family about it and be like, hey, go watch The Flash because it's a pretty good movie. And it's also very important. I think that what the people are saying online and what the people who have seen it are saying is that's actually a pretty damn good movie, which is something that's such relieving news. But again, I mean, like, this is a very, very like early crowd that can they fully be trusted? A lot of them are critics. I don't know. I would like to trust them because it's something that is going to be probably monumental, probably a big deal that we've never seen before. The only like really gripe I've seen that I've heard, not heard, but that I see during the trailers, is some of the CGI just still looks kind of weak, looks kind of whack. The fact that also Zod is coming back, like General Zod from Man of Steel, that's crazy. Like, who thought that this would happen? They're getting everybody back in this film to fucking retcon the universe. Oh man, that's insane. Never in my day and age would I've ever seen this happen. I guess the new guys at Discovery are like, you know what? We don't like where this is going. We're just going to spend money on a movie to erase it all. That's kind of what it seems like it's going to do. Moving on, one last thing I wanted to talk about was NBA playoffs. The Lakers, surprisingly, are up 3-1 to the Grizzlies. Now, I am not a LeBron James fan. I think that he's very, 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 very good at basketball. I don't really think that he's the nicest person or the most caring person because of what I've seen, on social media and shit like that. But I don't know him personally, but as a basketball player, he's still one of the best. And for him to have this much of an impact on the Lakers this playoff season is pretty incredible. I mean, the Lakers are seeded 7th. They were not a good regular season team. They had a lot of changes throughout the year. They lost Russell Westbrook, who went to the Clippers and ended up getting, losing 4-1 against Phoenix. And they get into the playoffs and they're playing against this young Memphis team that's hot, young, and has athleticism, is on the rise and on the upcoming. John Morant, and the Lakers are up 3-1? I would have never seen that coming, man. Never. I mean, in the day and age with these old Lakers, LeBron, AD, the older guys, I mean, they got Austin Reeves and D'Angelo Russell's back, who's somewhat younger. But the way they're playing, man, I mean, it can't really let a LeBron James-led team let them slide in the playoffs because LeBron is a really good basketball player. And when stuff has to get done, that guy is going to get it done. That guy, as much as you might not like him as a person or not like him outside of basketball, from what he said and what he does, dude is a monster at basketball. One of the very best in the game still. And he's 38, 39 possibly? He is so, in terms of professional athlete age, he is up there. He's an old guy, but he's still doing it. And I'm not saying that he's going to go all the way to the finals. I don't think that they will. But, dude, you never know. They just had to play. They just got through. Or they're playing the number 2 seed in the Western Conference in the Grizzlies. And they are, you can tell, just more seasoned, more mature. They're exploiting the Grizzlies' youth and their weaknesses. And I don't want to say it, but they could go to the finals. Seeing who they have to play next, whether it be the Kings or the Warriors. I mean, there is a path for these guys to make it to the finals. And let me try to find it real quick. So let me see. If the Lakers win, they have to play either the Kings or the Warriors. And if they win that series, I can totally see them beating either the Kings or the Warriors, I'll be honest. Having to go through the Grizzlies the way they've been going through the Grizzlies and beating them, they could definitely beat either of these teams. It's going to be either if they play either Phoenix or Denver. Now, Denver kind of had a little bit of a hiccup with Minnesota. But if they really just hunker down and play their game and just, not play around, they could probably easily beat the Lakers. The Suns, though, if the Lakers play the Suns in the Western Conference Finals, that'd be a crazy series. I mean, you get LeBron versus Kevin Durant, LeBron versus Chris Paul, AD versus Kevin Durant, AD versus Chris Paul, AD. It would be AD and LeBron versus Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Chris Paul. I mean, that'd be a star-studded Western Conference final. Listen, if I'm Adam Silver, I am doing whatever I can to get that to be the Western Conference Finals. That'll be a crazy, crazy series. Just on the stars alone, the names alone. I mean, Jesus Christ, that'd be an incredible TV to watch. Could you imagine that? We haven't seen, like, LeBron versus Kevin Durant in a very important game like this in a long time. Since the finals back in 2012, 2011, when LeBron was on the Heat and Kevin Durant was on the Thunder. That could be incredible. Just imagine that. I want that to happen, actually. That'd be pretty freaking lit if that happened. If that happened, oh man, that would be awesome. Now I'm kind of rooting for that. Even though it might be a little criminal for that to happen, because let's say, like, it does happen, if there's not some fucking calls that go one team's way that it shouldn't be, that'd be unfair. But in terms of ratings, that would be a sick-ass conference finals. I'm just saying. All right, that's going to be it for me today, people. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Remember, you can find this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube at Intelligent Moron with Alex. Over this podcast drops every Thursday. Make sure to like, subscribe, rate, review, do all that good stuff. And yeah, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I will see you guys next week.